Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games in the Game Pass collection, bringing you 3 new perspectives of varying skill range. I am the astrologer of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one who's too busy staring at the stars, Keith.
Hello.
And the one who can't figure out the difference between stairs and stars, Liz.
Hey guys.
This week, we had a semi-requested game from the Xbox Game Pass Twitter saying that we should play Sea of Stars. So we said, hey, you know what? We're taking that as a request. So here we are. We played Sea of Stars by Sabotage Studios. Sea of Stars is a old school 2.5D JRPG where you are playing as these two children who are known as solstice warriors. One is attuned to the moon and one is attuned to the sun. And you are raised up in this academy to go and essentially fight the evils of the world that are produced by the bad guy known as the Fleshmancer. But going around, Liz, was this a game or a pass for you?
It's a game for me. I just thought it was just some good, clean fun, you know? I would just boot up and have fun, and I like the story. There's some things that, being nitpicky, I didn't care for sometimes. But overall, I thought it was a lot of fun.
So Sea of Stars for me is, I'd actually put this in a definite game. There's going to be parts where I don't actually know what it is about the game that drew me in and had my attention so much, but I just loved everything about it. And yeah, I would call it a definite game.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is 100% a definite game. This game, Sea of Stars, I had so much fun with. I absolutely loved it. I wanted to keep playing it. I want to keep playing it. And there's so much about this game that so I first was so excited. So I loved Sabotage Studios because we played one of their games earlier that's unfortunately no longer on Game Pass, but it's called The Messenger. And The Messenger blew me away. Like, I did not expect much from that game, but I absolutely loved The Messenger. And then when I saw on their Twitter saying, from the people who brought you The Messenger, here's our new game, and I got excited. And at first, it originally was only announced for PlayStation, and I was really bummed. Then a couple months later, they finally said, hey, we're coming to Xbox. And I was excited again. And then another month or two later, they said, and it's coming to Game Pass. And I was even more excited. But yeah, Sea of Stars did not disappoint because I was like, if they did as good with The Messenger with this game, just if the writing is just half as good as The Messenger, I was all about this game. And yes, it is.
Two quick questions.
Yeah.
The Messenger was the 2D Ninja Gaiden-esque game we played, right? Okay.
Yep.
And then second question, I saw somewhere, I don't know if you know if this is true or not, that Sea of Stars is actually set in the same world as The Messenger. Sort of.
There's a bit of a spoilery stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't have to go too far into that. I had been watching something about it because I think I was trying to look something up. Spoiler alert! But I just happened to stumble across a quick review video someone had done. I was watching it and they mentioned that. So, anyway.
I mean, the game's all about dimensions and time and whatnot. So, if you're kind of more asking, do you need to play The Messenger to know what's going on in this game? No.
I am not asking that. I just was curious if that was a true statement. That's all.
And
yes or no would have worked just fine.
And then another quick point too with my Gamer Pass. This is a typical turn-based JRPG kind of style game. If you even if you don't like that style of game, I think you should still check this game out because we'll get into it. But I feel like this game does so many things right that even I usually complain about turn-based JRPGs. That just made this game awesome. So, yeah. So, if this game's not on Game Pass, I also highly recommend you buy it because I loved it that much. But anyway, enough with my ranting. Liz is already getting sick of it. Let's get into the story.
I said nothing.
Yeah, but your eyes saying a lot. But let's get into the story, as I said, of Sea of Stars. I keep wanting to call it Sea of Thieves just because I'm so naturally tuned to saying that. But Sea of Stars. So, as I said, you are these two children that grow up in this village called Moon Cradle that literally is built, the city is built to essentially raise these children that are delivered to them by an eagle that, when a child is born either on the winter solstice or the summer solstice, they're born either attuned to the moon or the sun. They get dropped off of this village. The village raised the children up as a community. They go to this academy where they train to be soldiers. And then they go out and they try to fight the evil that is still within the world. These evil beings that, if they are left unattended to, will eventually get so strong that they will essentially consume the world. So you, as the solstice warriors, are trying to stop from the world from being consumed. You graduate from your school and you are joined by your childhood friend, Garl.
He's great.
He's awesome. But what did you guys think of the story of Sea of Stars?
I really liked it. And at the beginning, the two older solstice warriors, they were hinting that like something kind of isn't right.
Yeah.
And one thing that I guess it's not disappointing. I put in, I think, almost 6 hours. And I feel like they haven't really touched on it again. I feel like the story is a bit slow. And the only reason why I find it frustrating is because I'm really interested in it and I want to know more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it. And the entire time, like, they better not leave Garl behind. Like, well, I say the entire time, the beginning part. But yeah, I really wish I had played more so that I know more of the story.
I know. I am loving the story. It's
well, so the funny thing, or one of the funny things to me about Sea of Stars is, so a couple weeks ago, the big con, you were complaining. You're like, oh, I played like 4 hours and it feels like I played like 100. I double checked it. I think I'm like 13 hours in right now, and I feel like I've played 100, but not in a bad way. I've just like been drawn into it in a way that it just feels like I've been playing so much. And I will say like a nitpicky thing is sometimes I feel like the story moves a bit slow, but outside of that, I am enjoying the story, which I think that's important. Coming from me, it says something.
I was going to say that, Keith.
And yeah, so I thought it was pretty interesting. It's got me invested, and I want to like get more involved in this world.
So I slightly disagree with you guys. I see where you guys are coming from, but to me, this is the one thing that I really love about this game, and it's the overall pacing. The pacing of this game, I think, is so well done. Because usually when you play like a JRPG style of this game, like when you're like, oh, we're going to a castle, it can just be a slog of an event of every 5 feet. You're getting these random events, these random encounters, and just like this, you just walking down a hall will take like 2 hours, and it's just annoying. But in Sea of Stars, I felt like the pacing was done so well. Like every time you're going to a new area, you're in there for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Like they're usually not very long dungeons. I understand where you guys are coming from the story because I am the same way. I'm enjoying the story where it's like I want to know more. But it's actually another thing that I do enjoy about this game. The cutscenes are really quick. There's animated cutscenes that are just short and sweet. But when it comes to actual dialogue, I found it to be very straight to the point. You go to a village, a bunch of moles are freaking out because something's going on. They tell you, this is what's going on. This is the bad guy. Cool, we're going to fix the problem. End. And like, that's it. Now you're going on your adventure. It's not like, oh, let's talk about the history of this village. Let's go to all these people and go through all these things. So to me, I actually felt like the pacing of the story was done well. I just felt like I just wanted more because I was enjoying it. And it's like, what's going on? I want to know more of these motivations. I want to know more about these characters.
Well, maybe it's a bit much to say that it's slow. I think it's more, I don't know. I think like it was after I beat the Necromancer even, like all of a sudden a bunch of stuff happened and I was like, it almost felt like I was about to get a scene that was like, welcome to Sea of Stars. Like, you know how sometimes games do that where they give you like an hour of gameplay and then it's like your intro into the game and you have like that cutscene where it gives you the title of the game. Like I was like half waiting for that, but not in a bad way. Like I'm like, oh, that would have, like if it had done that, I would have been like, I kind of would have laughed almost, honestly. But it's just, I don't know, the first good chunk of hours felt almost like a tutorial.
I kind of see where you're coming from, Keith, but I don't know. Like to me, it felt like the game was constantly kind of giving you these small bite-sized stories of these villages that you're going to. And then there's obviously the overall story of you fighting the big bad guy. But that's why I just felt like the pacing was good because I was enjoying just these small bite-sized stories of you trying to solve the problem of like the village you're in.
Yeah, and I don't mean it even as a bad thing when I say that. It's more just I don't know what it was about, like there was just something about like the cutscene of it that I was just, I don't know, it felt like it was just a turning point to introduce the game.
I mean, and that's the thing too. I feel like this game's constantly giving you new things to do. So I guess you could say, I can see where you're coming from. Where you're like, oh, it feels like I was still in the tutorial, because it's still like, yeah, now you're doing this.
Probably
now
not
you're
the
doing
best
this.
word for it either. Because again, it's not a negative. I can't stress enough that I don't mean it as a bad thing.
I'm also wondering, like, how much more we're going to see of some of the side characters that I've met along the way. And I thought it was interesting, the girl with the pink hair, the one that is recording history through her book.
Teeks.
Yeah.
Teeks, yeah.
I thought it was interesting that they don't make you do that. Because you
Well,
have
you
all these
kind of
monuments.
do.
What?
You give her the items to record history.
That's true. I just thought there'd be more with it. But I also really haven't interacted with her a crazy amount. Like, I have, but like I haven't really gotten to know her character at all or anything.
I think she's just there to deliver history, and that's it. I don't think there's really much to her.
Oh, okay.
Her
Because then there's like the
character's
mole
too much.
person, and it's just like, I don't know if there's going to be more with him. He's the one that was wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
With the fan.
Malcolmund.
Yeah. So I'm like, are all these people going to come back?
Don't know.
Well, you wouldn't spoil it for me anyways, but...
No, I wouldn't. Well, no, I probably would, because I know you wouldn't beat this game.
I'm not going to beat the game, but there was never a point where I was like, oh my gosh, I have to play the game this week. It was fun. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll go back to it someday.
Yeah, well, one of the things I really liked was just the overall writing. I mean, there's a ton of fourth wall stuff, which sometimes got to be a little bit over the top, because you're like, I get it.
I don't like
Fourth wall
them.
stuff. I don't remember.
There's a
Oh, you mean the
joke.
archivist?
Yolanda, she has that whole dialogue the first time,
Oh.
and it is funny, and so I'm
That
not
kind of
even
made me
knocking-
laugh. Yeah, when she's
Yeah.
saying like every time you're going to a village more north, you're getting progressively like stronger items or something like that. That
Yeah,
kind of
it's
made me
just
laugh.
like every shopkeeper just has a slightly stronger item, and somehow they all live in a shack but sell you things for 3,000 gold. But yeah, I think it's funny. But she keeps doing it. Basically, is like her whole dialogue. So at points,
I don't like fourth wall
Oh,
stuff.
well, I just got her name. Her name's Yolanda Fortwall, as in fourth wall.
I didn't even catch that, because all she's ever talking about is her middle name. If my middle name ain't whatever, I liked Keenathan because it sounded like.
Keenathan. I loved his name, Keenathan.
And if my name
It's so
isn't
hard to
Keenathan-
say.
I know. I like it because it's supposed to be like Jonathan, but it's Keenathan.
Yeah, I think so. Like the pirate characters as a whole, I think actually were my favorite characters, at least so far that I've met. Like because again, they talk them up as pirates, and then they're really just a bunch of jokesters. Like, I mean, they are pirates, but they're not bad. They do good things. They help people. They just sail on their little dinghy boat.
Raft.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and then there's that, and then the whole like captain and assassin girl, and like no one really acts like they know until she shows herself.
Which I loved. Yeah, I loved.
Yeah, that
you're not
joke
gonna. The joke, the achievement's like, oh, who would have known?
Yeah,
That's
well,
pretty funny.
I just love the reaction too, where they're like, "Yeah, we kind of figured all along." Just like, what?
That was pretty funny. I will say that's probably my slight disappointment with Sea of Stars, because the messenger's writing was hilarious. The shopkeeper and the messenger like straight up had me like cracking up laughing. And so like for Sea of Stars is a bit more serious. There are some things that are kind of tongue in cheek that just kind of made me like chuckle a little, but like no, like the messenger had me laughing.
They have to imagine
Which-
that's probably because it's like a JRPG though. Like they're always a little more serious.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Keith, because Andrew, you didn't see it, but I felt like, so I love the character Girl, of course, but I felt like there was a lot of weirdness with the graphics with him, not to get ahead, but it, like, I don't understand their choice of artistry when it comes to him searching his bag.
Keith, did you notice his pants?
Well, no, well, there's that, but also when he's searching his bag, the face that he makes, it makes me very uncomfortable.
Him
And
sticking
then,
his tongue out?
No, there's something about the way that they do it. It just doesn't. There's something wrong about it. And
I feel like I make that face when I search a bag.
So I
No, you
kinda
do
get
not.
where you're coming from, Liz. I don't
know.
think it bothered me, but I do kind of see what you're saying. Like there's something
And
weird
then-
about his face.
No, yeah, just like that one thing when he's like, if he is giving you food in battle and he's reaching in his bag, that specific animation. And then also, I was like halfway through like the 6 hours, and all of a sudden, his pants, like his knees, they look like boobs, and I can't see it.
I don't see it. But
And
they look like
I'm
patches
gonna
to
go
me.
look. Well, not this minute, but I'm gonna look.
He's
the
like,
no,
boobs?
look up a picture of Garl, and when he's like in like middle of action, his like the way that his legs are,
Am I going
it's straight
So,
up.
Do you think the patches on the knees look like nipples? Is that what you're saying?
It's just something very.
Now we're going to the internet.
I'm trying to picture the patches, and that's why I'm like maybe, but I just like whenever I see them now, I just think that they're
No, they just kind of look like orange patches on his.
It's during like certain animations, like during battle and stuff. Like
do they kind of jiggle? I guess when he's moving. I don't know. I've never really paid.
I don't know.
attention
Do you know what?
to
It's just me.
Liz screenshotted it, so maybe
There-
we'll send you. Yeah, do you have the picture? We can send it to Keith.
No, because I had a video.
Should I-
Oh yeah, see, so Keith, there's Carl.
No,
Keith,
not when he's standing like that though. Like that, I wouldn't think of
I mean, yeah, those just look like
boobs. I feel like I'm saying boobs too much now.
I don't know.
I didn't quite get it either. But Liz
Let
took
me-
a picture and she was like, "Do you notice his knees?" I'm like, "No."
No, that's the problem. I took a video.
Oh. But story.
And so it is just me, yeah. Story.
Yeah, I mean, nothing comes up on Google if you search Sea of Stars, Garl knee boobs. So, just you list. You got nothing.
I'm surprised you googled that. I'd be afraid of
Just
what to find.
when you play
It was a
it
risky
again,
search.
Keith, just look at his knees a little bit when he's moving around.
All right. If there's any listeners out there that agree with Liz, she would love to know. But yeah, the side characters, as far as the story goes, I just like all the main characters. I think this world they've just written is just really interesting. I want to know more about every other character. I love when there's cutscenes. I love when there's story dialogue. I mean, this is surprising coming from you, Keith, who doesn't like story. This is what I think why I think the pacing is so good, because you don't like story, Keith, and I feel like if it was just you reading a 15-minute text back and forth, you would be out. But that's why I think this game did so well with its pacing that it kept you interested.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely parts where I was kind of skimming dialogue a little bit. Like, again, like with Yolanda there, it's like, okay, like I would read enough to get the joke, but not really trying to absorb information of what was going on, because I knew she wasn't saying anything of value at that point to the story. But yeah, all in all, I thought the writing was short, to the point, it was clever, and I overall enjoyed it. Like, even just like the boss fights, when you beat the necromancer, and she's like, yeah, I'll be back, and next time I won't be alone. And throughout battle, she had summoned a bunch of characters.
Yeah, in which your characters called her out on it.
They're like, what?
It's like you weren't alone.
It's not what I meant. Get out of here.
But yeah, so the gameplay, as I said, this is a typical turn-based JRPG kind of style game. You pick your skills, you pick your battles, you fight your enemies, and you level up, and so on and so forth. What I absolutely loved about Sea of Stars, because like I said, if you say, hey, it's a JRPG, you kind of know what you're getting into for gameplay. But once again, Sea of Stars does so many choices right, specifically the combat. Even when I love a JRPG, recently I beat the original Octopath Traveler. Like I put it, that's like a 45 plus hour RPG. By the end of it, I'm still kind of like, okay, this is kind of getting tedious. Usually when you're playing a JRPG, because this is hours long, you kind of get repetitive over and over again. I know what skills I'm going to pick over and over again. I know what characters I like, blah, blah, blah. but the combat is always keeping you busy. And that's what Sea of Stars did so well, because it has a system where when you're attacking, you can hit A again at the moment of point of impact, and you'll actually do like another follow-up attack, adding more damage to your basic attack or your special attack. And then same with blocking. If an enemy is attacking you, as soon as the enemy hits you, you can hit A and do a massive reduced damage of the enemy attack. And this is just constantly keeping you engaged in the battle, in which made battles constantly keep feeling refreshing and just not stale of, nope, I'm just going to do a fireball, up, I win the fight, okay, let's keep going. And go ahead.
I loved seeing my improvement with that, especially
really
with
good.
blocking. Like, I really struggled at the
Well, your
beginning.
first issue, you kept forgetting that you could block.
Yes.
You always remembered you could attack, but I haven't kept reminding you, going, you can block this. Like, block that attack. You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we recently played an RPG, a turn-based game, and the combat was too simple, and I didn't like it. So this was refreshing, but I gotta be mean for a second.
Oh, come on. I think you're just still going to bring this up.
Because
I'm not helping you anymore.
No, so I was playing the game, and I forget what it's called. It's not is it the Crescent one or the other one?
It's the Moonerang.
Yeah, the Moonerang, Valaire's skill. And so I was sitting with Andrew, and he was like, oh, I love doing this one. He's like, I just got the achievement for doing 25. Here, let me see. He takes my controller and biffs it. Like, the first, he hit A to fling it, and then it came back and he missed. Like, the first one. And I just thought it was so funny.
I knew. I was like, "You're gonna bring this up in the podcast." She's like, "Yep." It's like, "Wow, I'm not
Because
helping you ever
whenever
again."
it comes to helping me, when it comes to like a battle or something, I don't know if it's nerves, but you do usually mess up.
Yeah, because I try to impress you. I try to impress the cute girl.
It is
And I screw
impressive
up.
though. Like you really did a good job, like better than me with it after that. But like, I just think it's funny that usually happens where like the first time when you're doing something for me, it's like, oh, because it was, so I should say it was the one with like those little worm guys that can summon. And so his inability to do that caused me to get 6 more of them. And so it was a bit of a bummer.
But Liz,
that 25. I didn't. Oh, I was. So I swore I thought I had got 25 at least once. I clearly didn't, and I don't know. I didn't count ever enough to prove that I did or didn't, but I thought I would have multiple times because I did get pretty good at the Moonerang. It took me a while because I realized that you could hit deflect a lot earlier than it hitting you, and then
yeah, it was more forgiving.
Like not to put it in the same vein as Rad Ghost by any means, but it had that same type of feel, like where it was almost more difficult the first couple as it was going slower, and then once it got going fast, then it was just like a rhythm of just like quick tapping A. So
Yeah. Well, that's how I did it, because like I'd say in my brain of like, oh, I just got to hit faster, and then at a certain point I'm just going like hitting it super quick, and that's how I got the 25.
But yeah, overall I didn't put words to it, so I like the way you explained it, is the fact that mechanic kept me engaged in the battle, because that is one of the biggest kind of downfalls to any RPG or turn-based RPG, is just the ability to just click a button and you strategize a little bit, you look at your points, what do I have to spend to send use this skill, whatever it may be, but there's not a lot outside of that. So this, and like, did you talk about the whole like seal, like lock breaking or seal breaking aspect too?
No.
So I guess I'll jump into that aspect, is that beyond just having to pay attention to each individual attack or each individual defense, you'd have the moments where the enemy is casting, and it would give you, 4 blocks, 6 blocks, or whatever, a certain
icons.
Icons. Thank you. Sorry, they aren't blocks, but whatever. That would tell you the specific attack type, and if you could break all of those blocks, then you would be able to cancel the enemy's attack. So you had to strategize your attacks and figure out, okay, can I multi-attack with this skill or that skill or whatever it may be. So I don't know, I just really appreciated that aspect of combat. And there was times where, as you were saying, some JRPGs are like, ugh, I took 2 steps, here's another battle. I kind of found myself being like, I kind of want another battle. Where's some more enemies?
Me too.
I want more fights.
I wanted to fight more, yeah.
So yeah, it's refreshing to have that in a turn-based RPG.
Yeah, like this game, like I said, focuses more, I think, on like environmental puzzle solving, which it never was very hard, but it was always fun and interesting, and you could always see the enemies. So, actually, I never thought about it because as Key said, I wanted to fight all the enemies because I wanted to level up and get stronger. Liz actually learned to sneak by enemies and just kind of ignore them.
I did
found a way to kind of pass them.
If I was going back to an area for some reason and I was just trying to get to a campsite or something like that, I was like, I just want to run there, I would sneak past them, but largely I was trying to fight them all.
Well, that was by the waterfalls, and I knew that I was going to go back there anyways, and I just didn't want to deal with it at that time. Which, for me, I always get so frustrated when there's 3 different paths to go, and if there's some areas where the hidden chest under the waterfall and stuff, so you really need to do all 3. Yep, I really do. Keith, I was curious what you thought of the in-game game. I forget what it's called, but because I didn't actually play it. Andrew played it on my game because I was actually going to bed, and so I didn't really want to get into it. But he brought up that, there's so many games that make their own in-game games, like The Witcher, which I remember loving The Witcher one.
Majority RPGs will have a mini game that is essentially a card game within their game.
But I thought it was really interesting, so I was curious if you liked it.
So,
this one was called Wheels.
Wheels, that's what it was. Very, very difficult name to remember. I can see how I forgot it. I actually didn't get into The Witcher, and then honestly, a lot of times in RPGs, I find myself skipping them. At least if it's an RPG we play for the podcast, I'll play it a little bit, but I often want to spend more time getting into the further gameplay. So I kind of go, that's a complicated game. I don't feel like doing that. I'm going to play the game we're playing. Wheels, now I think I've only gone through 2 areas where I found a table for it. It's a really cool mini game.
I really like it.
I think it's a lot of fun. I like just the way that it's designed, and it's simple. There's not a crazy level of trying to figure out all of these bells and whistles. It took me a couple rounds to fully understand what I was trying to do or how to best strategize. But outside of that, it was more like strategy, not how does the game work.
Yeah, I really like the minigame Wheels. Anytime an RPG has an in-game game, they're always so fun. The Witcher, you had Gwent, which eventually they ended up creating a arcade game of Gwent. I remember Knights of the Old Republic had a card game called, I keep wanting to say it was Kazan or something like that, or Kizit or something weird, but they had a card game. But yeah, I just love there's always some sort of mini game usually in an RPG, and I thought Wheels was fun. But the other great thing too I really wanted to mention about the combat, because this is another thing in almost every sort of JRPG you play that is always a pet peeve of mine, and CSRs does a great job with it, and that is party members. The characters are so great in this game. And usually when you're in an RPG, it's even Mass Effect. It's do I take Garrus? Do I take Rex? Do I take Liara? I love all these characters. I want all of them with me. And Sea of Stars has a fantastic system of you can swap your party out mid-fight, and it doesn't cost you a turn. So it's you can constantly juggle each character and party member that you have. You don't get penalized for it, and you're just having fun with everyone. And then not only that, the game also paces the characters well. You have Garl with you majority of the time. He's obviously your first companion. It's, Valir, Zale, and then Garl. It's those 3 members. But even too, as you're playing the story, sometimes he's I'm going off. And it's well, now he's gone. He's a party member that you can't, he's still in your party. You'll still be able to play with him later. But the game forces you to not have him for a short amount of time. And, here's this other character, party member that you can have now. So I thought the pacing of having these characters with you is so good. Because I hate having the choice of, who's going to be benched. But you don't have to have that worry anymore.
Well, and with that too is even when they're out of the party, they're just earning XP. Everyone just earns XP, so there's no trying to figure out. I gotta, like you said, not even.
I gotta level up this guy that's been on the bench.
Yeah, I like this character. I haven't used them enough. Sometimes it's an XP thing, but you don't have to worry about that. I know there was one point where he left my party unexpectedly, and I had just put an item on him that I was like, boy, I would love to have just moved that to another character, but I can't do that now. It didn't have a great impact because I don't know about you guys, but I felt like overall, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but it's because it almost sounds it, but it's almost very easy. Like, I don't know that I ever really struggled in any battles or really at any given point.
I died a couple times.
Oh, yeah, I did die. It's not that I was untouchable by any means, but any of my deaths, I pretty much immediately went, okay, I know how to get through this on my next battle. And if I didn't, the next one, I don't think anything ever took me more than 2 tries. It's just so another thing too, where I don't know, sometimes like boss battles in these types of fights seem like they can take forever, and they heal themselves a million times, and I don't know, I just like even the boss battles in this, they felt like a boss battle. They were cool, the visuals, all of that, but they were just very manageable, and they didn't seem like just big meat chunks.
See, I did some of the cheats just because I was lazy.
I like that aspect of it, though.
Yeah, because you can
we'll
turn them off,
Yeah.
too. So for me, it's just like, it's pretty much like, oh, do you want to keep making food over again? That's pretty much what you're kind of dealing with that. But what happens when you die? Like, do you go back to, because there aren't like, there's the saves, but there's no autosave, right? So where do you start?
It depends. If you die in a random encounter, it loads you from the last save point. But I noticed usually when I die during a boss battle, it just load me before the boss battle.
Well, because a lot of times there's a save point right before a boss.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, makes sense.
So that might have been happenstance that I thought about that I thought it just loaded me back there. But yeah, it usually would just like load your last save.
Because I didn't die at all.
Yeah.
I
So
think there was some level of not auto save, but like checkpoints.
I don't know. It's
no,
not real though. I can guarantee. I can tell you this.
The little running figure in the corner made me think that there was.
Well, no, it would show a book in the corner and it said saving, and I didn't quite get that because there is no autosave in this game.
But
majority of my
checkpoints.
time, I played in the cloud, and I lost about 15 minutes of gameplay because I quit before I got to a save point.
Right, but what I think it is I think it's in-play checkpoints, because one of the parts where I did die, actually I think probably twice, it was the one of the maze areas, or not maze areas, but areas where you're just going moving around a bunch of switches and platforms before the necromancer, and I didn't have to go back through like all 3 stages of it. I just had to go back and do the last stage before I moved into like the boss area. And so I think it gives you mini checkpoints, but if I had quit, it would have brought me back to my last save point, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because it gives you
something
a
like
continue
that.
and a load game option. So I don't think it goes
Yeah.
back to a save point.
I don't know. It's a little confusing and misleading when it says saving, but it's not really saving. I don't know. It's kind of odd. So I'm already going to give this warning if you are playing on the xCloud. You know, I usually love turn-based RPGs in the xCloud. But yes, you have save points you actually have to physically save at, because if you don't and you quit the game, it loads to where you were at a save point. So I lost 15 minutes or so. It's just unfortunate, but it wasn't that big of a loss. Like, I was able to get back to it quickly. But yeah, to your point though, Keith, I agree. This game isn't very hard, and once again, this is a thing I love, and I associate it with the pacing. That the majority of the fight I'm doing, like, I did not turn any of the accessibility things on, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, this game's not very hard. I died, I think, once or twice in random encounters, but that's because, you know, I just didn't prepare and I got kind of caught with my pants down. But yeah, the boss fights, it was a couple times I died in a boss fight, and I just was like, okay, now I know what I need to do, who I need to have out in the parties, and what part I need to focus on. But that's what I liked about this, because usually in a JRPG, when you're at a boss and it beats you, usually your option is, hey, leave and just keep fighting random mobs, grind, get a couple levels, then go back and try to fight the guy again. But this game isn't. To me, didn't feel like that. I never felt like I had to grind. I never felt like I had to go back and kill a bunch of monsters to level up 1 or 2 more times to take the boss on. And that's what I loved about this game. I wouldn't have minded it because I loved the combat and I wanted to do more fights and level up. But no. But yeah, the relics that Liz was talking about, this is another thing that's great about Sea of Stars is it has like these accessibility options called relics. You first are awarded a couple right at the beginning, and the one Liz turned on was essentially called story mode. Every time at the end of a battle, your characters will fully heal, so you can turn that relic on. There's no penalty either. You still get the same XP. It doesn't lock you out of achievements. And then the other one that I usually turned on was it gave you more of a notification when you did a perfect block or a perfect attack. It didn't help you with it. It just gave you more of a visual cue that you did it right. And so that one I turned on because I was like, oh, that's just kind of something that's nice to see.
Yeah, it's like turning
as you progress
on Halo.
Yeah, kind of. And then as you progress through the game, you find shopkeepers and they sell more relics that'll do different things. 20% increase XP for all your party members. Makes shops cheaper. Makes it so you are guaranteed, you have a 35% chance of doing a perfect block, even if you're not trying to perfect block. So it was really cool that the game wasn't just like right off the get-go, here, do you want to make this game stupid easy? Turn on all the things, there you go, and just sit back and relax like we've played on other games, like Ickenfeld, where it let you auto-win. Like, that gave you it right away. And Sea of Stars, it kind of forced you to at least try. At least play the game and try. And if you are struggling and you get to, the third town, then maybe you can buy the relic and kind of make it easier for you. So I thought it was a really neat idea to at least not let you cheat and cheese right away.
Didn't you say that there was a shopkeeper that's kind of hidden that gives you relics that make it harder?
Yeah, there's a hard relic.
Did you do any of those?
No. I was tempted to because, as Keith said, it was like, oh, this wasn't too hard. I just didn't want to because, for the sake of this podcast, I wanted to know more of the story and I wanted to progress more. So I just didn't want to slow myself down. Because, like I said, I still was dying on some boss fights. So that's, for me, I was like, I just don't want to get infuriated. But yeah, there was a shopkeeper that did you got 40% increased damage received. Another one where it's you can't, I think, cancel spells from enemies or something like that.
Is that the secret?
But yeah, I thought it was interesting that. Yeah, under the dock, he sold hard relics.
Okay, because I was gonna say they even have, I guess, in between ones, because I think it's the one that's does the auto block for you, but it gives you 40% reduced damage on your bonus hits. So it doesn't even give you the full reward. So it kind of balances out even some of its accessibility features, which I like because it makes the ease of play there, but it doesn't just, as you said, kind of auto-win it for you. You still have to do at least a little bit of the work.
But yeah, the relics were such a fun idea.
There really is. There's a lot of gameplay, because I'm 12, 13 hours in, and I still haven't even hit... I mean, I don't know how big of a mechanic it turns into, but you rebuild a town, and I didn't even touch that. So it's
That's what the shells are for, right?
Kind of, a little bit.
Oh,
you're finding these rainbow conch shells that you kind of use to help build the town. The building of the town was a little disappointing.
I was hoping for
it's more of a phrase that you build a town. Well, slightly like that. You do go to other towns, and there are some NPCs you can recruit to move to your town. But the town building, in quotations, was a little disappointing. I was hoping for something a little more in depth, but it's more just, you built a town.
Well, yeah,
but not really.
Where
it's just a cutscene.
There's a lot of the JRPG genre where you can go and you can collect, 100 plus different people, and you can build up a castle, and you have all these different aspects and things that even if it's all driven, you can do some massive world building, or at least feel like you are, because of how much they allow you to put into it. So that's what I was kind of hoping that this was going to throw into there. It sounds like it's not, but nonetheless, I don't think it's a fault at all. I still think there's so many good things about Sea of Stars. So
another thing I absolutely love about Sea of Stars that is a big pet peeve of mine in a lot of JRPGs, and that is item management. I cannot tell you how many JRPGs I played. I have 40 potions. I'm stockpiling potions and paralysis potions and nightmare potions and all these antidotes and blah, blah, blah. You just have all this garbage. It does not exist in Sea of Stars. Even when you're getting equipment to give your characters, one, there's not a ton. I'm not shifting through a bunch of rings that I'm oh, maybe I'll trade this one. Maybe I want this one. Maybe I want this one. No, there's actually a bare minimum of rings that everyone can have 2 rings and a necklace. But the necklaces are rare, and it's I essentially have 1 ring on each person and no extra rings. So like there's not a lot of just random garbage you're finding. And when it comes to upgrading weapons, it's super clear cut. This is giving you plus this, plus this. So I instantly know, okay, that's a better weapon. Instantly buy and equip. Super easy to manage. Like you're not juggling garbage. And I'm not juggling a bunch of health potions. No, instead you're cooking recipes, which you can only have 10 food items on you. And it was like a balance of, do I want mana? Do I want health? Do I want something that heals all the party? It was the item management in Sea of Stars is so user friendly, and it's nice to not have an RPG where item management is like a part-time job.
Yeah, I love that the weapon. Like you said, that the weapon is better, because that's really frustrating when you play a game and it's like, well, it's minus 10 for this, but plus 8
but
here.
the attack speed's faster.
And yeah, exactly. So for me, like, it was refreshing to just be able to be like, yep, buy that. Yep. And I feel like I always had money too.
I disagree with. This is another thing, and usually in an RPG, like I feel like you're always like 1,000. You have 1,000 credits in Sea of Stars. You know, just having a triple-digit amount of coins is like that's a lot of money. Like usually in a battle, it's like you got 2 coins. So it's like it's weird to have actually like a game where its economy isn't like, oh, I have 1 million gold by the end of the game. Like no, it's like no, you're given like 2 gold every time you win a fight. Like it's really just pennies.
Maybe it's because it's where I am now. But whenever I finally find a shopkeeper, like I have the money to buy everything that I want.
Well, yeah, because I'm also buying food ingredients because I'm actually healing my party members cooking the food. You weren't as much because
that's very true. And so I feel like I just have way too much food that I'm not using. So yeah, that's a fair point.
The thing is though, I don't even use that much food, so I don't have the auto heal turned on, but I rarely heal outside of battle, and that's
you will when you get farther,
and that is possible. But at least so far as I've played now, I've largely just relied on the healing of my characters, and in a lot of ways you can heal yourself up before you finish off a battle. So so far it's very forgiving on that. But
other question I have. Like the other great thing is whenever you level up, you are given 4 points and you pick one. So it's like, hey, your character level up. Do you want to get extra attack, magic defense, physical defense, or health, like you get or mana points? Like it's random, 4 different attributes you want to select. I don't know about you guys. I was building my characters as glass cannons. So if I ever have the option for attack or magic attack, I always selected that.
I started doing that after you said that, but I would go between health. What?
I regret my choice though.
Well, anyway. So I'd go either health or attack were my main 2, but I actually loved like getting more and more health for them.
Yeah.
To have that kind of safety net. So I'd say at this point it's probably about 50-50 for me.
So I'm not gonna say I did it properly or well, but I did effectively try to like build each character as I saw them. So for Valere, I saw her kind of more, more of like a battle mage. So I focused more on the physical attack, heavier.
Well, she was a battle monk.
Or battle monk, I'm sorry. So I don't know, I saw it more physical damage. So I went with her more physical attack. Zale. I always forget his name. Zale, I built more magic because he had that magic sunball, which was awesome just without a lot of magic attack built into it. Garl, heavy defense and health, and I was kind of balanced with the Sheer, the pirate.
Saray, I thought her name was.
Sheree? Yeah, I think Sheree maybe. Something along those
I thought it was Saray. I thought it was supposed to be kind of like as in serrated.
Maybe. The captain assassin person.
There you go.
Yeah, so I kind of balanced her out a little bit, and I'm guessing you get at least 1 more companion, if not more.
You get 2 more.
Okay. So I haven't done anything with them yet because I haven't got them, but that's how I've sort of built when I can. And, yeah.
So, as I said, I did glass cannons, and as you said, Keith, of like, oh, I could just kind of heal in-game in the fight at the end. I was doing that for a while, but after a while, my characters were getting so strong that, 1 hit would take like a quarter of my health, but I could finish a fight in like 2 or 3 turns. So I actually wouldn't even have time to heal in the middle of the battle because I would finish the battle so quick. And then I was like, oh, I kind of regret this choice of making him too strong.
Well,
but I love the simplicity of leveling up. Yes, the knockout. When when your characters get knocked out, it usually 2 turns and they revive themselves. Super nice. I love that feature.
And it adds more stars, right?
Yeah.
If they keep getting knocked down.
But that's what I like too. Is it like, yeah, you might lose someone for a while, but you can really like string along a battle, especially if you have, like for me, if Garl was the last one left alive and either he hadn't really been hit hard that battle, he's got like 75% of his health, and I can take a lot of hits with him. I can usually get myself by, especially one heal from him heals himself up. So I don't know. I found myself able to do it, but I also have not gotten as far as you have, Andrew. But I also have built more defense to my character. So I think I might have a little better luck on that. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. It was one more aspect of the battle that I really liked.
All right, but we need to keep moving because there's a lot I feel like I talk about the combat and stuff. The gameplay of Sea of Stars is just so good. But the other thing I really want to talk about that I absolutely loved, and that is the graphics. Specifically, the color palette choice of this game. This game is beautiful. Like, it is so refreshing to play a game that has, like, bright pinks, neon blues, and oranges. It is a bright, shining, colorful palette of a game. And it's like, I forgot what color it looks like in a video game. Playing so many games that are just dreary browns and grays and stuff like that. Like, that is usually a color palette of most games. This game is so bright and vibrant. But it wasn't, like, eye-bleeding vibrant. Like, nothing like that. It was just refreshing to see beautiful, colorful landscapes.
Yeah, I agree. I liked the cutscenes. I liked the gameplay graphics.
Anime style.
But I will say, every once in a while, it reminded me of Stardew Valley. Like, the way that they placed landscape.
I can see that. Like the trees and stuff.
Yeah, and not in a bad way. But I just, like, every once in a while, I thought of Stardew. But yeah, overall, I really like the graphics. Except for what I mentioned earlier. And not that I don't like those weird Garl things, but it is a little weird.
Garl's girls.
What?
The girls.
Oh.
No, I 100% agree, because even with it having a good amount of like bright, cheering colors, it wasn't all of that either. You still go into the Necromancer's swamp there, and then you still have,
but still has nice neon greens to it.
Well, that is true too. But it's not all bright colors though, and then it's not. There's bad things that happen at a point, and it's not all just a bunch of destroyed buildings. There's fire and color still managed throughout it. I think you make a good point with the overall look of it, but I just liked giving that old school feel of like playing an old N64 RPG, JRPG. Like those were the days I felt like I played the most of those, and so playing that style just always has a little bit of nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I'm sure. Or just me personally. Only me.
I also like that, everything that you can interact with, it was very obvious you could interact with it. And same with
chest.
And same with like, it's like, oh, I look like I can walk over there, and then there is a secret. So I felt like even from a new perspective that it wasn't too hard.
Yeah, even like you could interact with just about any bookshelf, and they just kind of have some dumb comment about it or whatever, like some old books or whatever. But if there actually was something there, it would have a little sparkle to it, I noticed.
Yep.
Oh, are you going to bring up the name of the boss that you were surprised by? Because, you don't have to say what it is, but like I said earlier, it's just, some good, clean fun. And then Andrew like showed me like, this is the name of one of the bad guys, and it's,
the bad guy's name is literally Boulder Douche.
Oh, Boulder.
Which is funny because it's literally a rock guy that's also a DJ. It's just like, this is actually a lot of the names of the enemies were pretty funny. There was one of like a wizard.
Yeah, the mermaid wizard, but it wasn't.
It was like wizard
or something.
Moth wizard. Yeah, it was something weird. Yeah, but I think it's just like a little bit of the humor of this game, and I loved it.
It actually kind of surprised me.
Yeah, and it's so subtle because, like, usually
Geodude evolution.
We don't talk a lot about using these words, but in a game that's going to use the humor of using something like douche, it's going to be like so like more slapstick, and I don't know. I think of High on Life and that type of comedy.
Yeah.
But there's like nothing else like that throughout the whole game. There's just one random joke of that, and they just pass over it like it doesn't exist. And I think part of it is because
I would have caught
pays
it.
attention to enemy names, so they're just like, we can just throw whatever the heck we want in the enemy names, and no one's ever gonna notice. And it just felt like a fun little joke that they had with themselves.
Yeah, I fully agree. Because I surprised I caught it. It's like when I finally crossed over the enemy to select an enemy, I noticed, I was like, wait, is that the name of the enemy?
Yeah, like I could see that being like them sitting around playing it as they're building, and just someone's like, the stinking boulder douche again. And they're like, that's the name now.
But it's so funny. And that's what I like too. Like the game, it has these slight humors to it, but it is also, as you said, Keith, pretty dark. Like some of the monster designs are very grotesque and fleshy, and some of the story elements can be pretty dark. Like when I don't think you got into the part, but you find a gorilla matriarch. I sent you a picture of a comical section part of it, but when you found the story of that area, it's actually pretty dark, and it's like, okay. But that's what I enjoyed about the game. It's like it's bright and colorful, but it's not like, it's all happy and sunshine. It's like, no, there's some pretty sad elements to this game. But all right. But the other thing that's so good, and I remember I loved it originally too with the Messenger. The music in Sea of Stars is so good. I love this soundtrack. So I saw in the trailer. I'm going to butcher the guy's name because unfortunately I'm not very good at Japanese names. But they actually got the composer originally from Chrono Trigger, which a lot of people always said, this game looks a lot like the old school JRPG Chrono Trigger. But they got the original composer, Yusunori Mitsuda. So he actually did a good amount of the composing in this game. But, I mean, there obviously is a lot of soundtrack elements I noticed from The Messenger. Because there's an autumn level in The Messenger. I specifically remember the music from that because I remember I loved it so much. And I noticed there's a lot of sound bites from that in an autumn level in Sea of Stars. But yeah, the soundtrack is so good. You can play this game without headsets because there's no voice dialogue. But I wanted to have my headsets on all the time. And that's the thing too, when it comes to JRPG, this can grate on me so quickly is like battle music. The Cassette Beast. I remember we played Cassette Beast, which is another kind of a turn-based RPG. I got so sick of the battle music. I got so sick of it. But in this, no. I was okay with the battle music, the victory music. Nothing got grating in this game. See, I know you disagree on one.
Well, no. So I did like the music. There was one day that I played, and
we got to the Mole Village.
I was grumpy when I was playing, and there's this like really just loud music playing over and over again because it's through the dialogue. Once the dialogue ends, it's over. Yeah. But it overstayed its welcome because I was grumpy. And yeah, it was only because I was grumpy. But then there was this one song that reminded me... What?
When Garl shows up? Oh, no, never mind. The song when Garl shows up and he's talking... I'm like, I was sitting there dancing while you were listening to it. Oh, I love that song.
I don't know which one you're talking about, but there was one song that reminded me of Gilligan's Island.
Oh yeah,
the theme song. Yeah, and I just couldn't stop hearing it, and but that's a positive. I was like, I haven't thought of that show in a very long time.
I haven't either. But I don't think there's a lot of reasons for me to think of Gilligan's Island. Why haven't they done a remake of that yet? Everything they've done, that is a prime remake show. Anyways,
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want it.
Oh,
would you want another Gilligan's Island?
All over that. Do you know how? I'm not trying to shame anyone based on their age, but my parents would jump all over that. They would be on CBS every Tuesday night watching the new Gilligan's Island. I'll tell you that. So
see, I think it's even old. Like, didn't it come out in the 60s?
I think so. Maybe.
So that means it's actually like more for like our parents, our grandparents. Is what I mean.
I mean, there is a Gilligan remake. It's called Survivor.
Oh, you mean Lost?
No.
I think my joke was better. Anyways.
That's weird to think about that it came out when like my parents were kids. That's weird to think about. Like it's that old.
Aren't all the actors dead at this point?
No, I think Ginger's still around.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that.
But anyway, music.
1964. Anywho, yeah, I liked the music too. I thought it was good. I don't know. I did listen to it, and it didn't bother me, and I liked it. I don't think it stood out to me as much. I was just having too much fun fighting bad guys.
See, this week I was editing the newest episode while playing this game, and it made me sad because I was like, I'd rather be listening to the music right now. Not that I don't enjoy our podcast and editing it, but I was like, I love this music so much. I really wish I could be listening to it right now.
You would rather listen to that music than hear Liz talk. That's what you're saying.
I wasn't in last week.
Liz wasn't on, Keith.
Oh, that means it's
so I don't want to hear you talk. Oh, but yeah, the music is absolutely fantastic. As far as achievements go, though, it's
sad.
Yeah, it's.
I mean,
Andrew, you put a lot of time into it. You're at 215 out of 1,000 with 13 achievements. Keith, 110 with 7 achievements, and I'm 35 with 3 out of 42 achievements. That doesn't like. I was actually surprised that more weren't popping up. I think it's disappointing.
I mean, it's not for quick achievement hunters, but as far as achievements go, they're not too hard. I will give a warning. Don't look at the secret achievements. There is a pretty significant spoiler that I saw, and I was like, I wish I didn't see that.
Wait, is it is it a secret achievement?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But majority of the secret achievements are story related, of just beat this guy, beat this guy, beat this guy. So there are, as far as I could see, any missable achievements. There are a couple of achievements that are revealed that are to like find every treasure. Like that's a bit of a work. But once again, there is an accessibility relic you can get where you get a treasure finding parrot, and it'll tell you, hey, there's treasure on this island, search in this area. And it kind of gives you general idea as to where treasure is. So to get that achievement,
cool.
You just turn that parrot on, and he kind of gives you a guide as to where to go. But yes, if you don't want spoilers, don't reveal the secrets. Just beat the game. And then if there's any secret ones, reveal them, because I don't think any of them are missable, like I said.
It's not, in all fairness, most secret achievements are
pretty lame.
Yeah.
And they're missable. So it's like,
I don't
why
remember
is
the
this
last time there was a spoiler in one, so.
It's been a while. But it makes sense. This is a story RPG, so.
I feel like now that they've put the like unhide feature, I think more and more developers seem to be using it appropriately and just putting story achievements behind hidden and not things you can miss or, you know, kind of be collecting or whatever, or be pointless to be hidden. So, I don't know. I tried not, or I don't want to say I try not to. I don't do it as often as I used to with the unhide feature on newer games, I find. Cause I just assume it's going to be story.
I always at least try to do it. But also too, since we've been talking about accessibility, I do want to bring up our Spotify question that I had up last week, which I thought was very interesting. So I asked everyone, you know, do you think games should have a difficulty setting for accessibility reasons? 20 people voted, and 9 said yes, 11 said no. So it's actually pretty split even. Like, I can see both argument sides of this of it as a developer, it would make sense to have difficulty reasons, like settings, to have people more play your games. But I never fault a developer to make a game hard because they want it to be hard.
But I also might not play a game if it's crazy hard.
I know.
Where I'm like, I'm going to have to ask Andrew's help all the time. Like, no. So for me, as someone who isn't great at video games, it 100% would make me question whether I want to play a game. But I wouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, this game obviously isn't for me.
Yeah. And that's what I love, that this game kind of gives you the options to be hard or kind of be a little more accessible. But yeah, I think it's interesting that was kind of almost a split even on people's stance on it. But yeah, let's get into our final thoughts here. I'll go first because I'm just going to gush about this game for a little bit for the next 5 minutes here. Sea of Stars. Play this game. This game was so good. If this is off Game Pass, I highly recommend it. This is, honestly, I would easily spend $60 on this game. I loved Sea of Stars. Did not disappoint. As I said in the top of the episode too, if you're someone who's like about JRPGs and turn-based RPGs, this game might actually sway you. I felt like its pacing was done so well. I didn't feel like I was being bogged down by constant random encounters. I wasn't getting bored with the combat because the combat was always keeping me on my feet by having to do an extra attack or perfect block. I thought the story was well written. My only complaint about the story is there's some characters' motivations I'm hoping it's fleshed out more by the end, but the way they explain their motivation, I was like, this makes no sense. Like you want to cause more death and destruction for really lame reason. I don't know. To me, I think there is more reasoning to it because I did see at least a background story that's kind of shedding more light on it. So I'm hoping it fleshes more out. But that's my only complaint as far as the story goes. I thought the pacing overall was really good. I thought in typical RPGs, you're reading a lot of text, but I thought the texts were short and sweet, no more than just a couple minutes long. The music is top notch. The graphics are fantastic. The boss designs, the environments, the characters. I loved Sea of Stars. This might be my game of the year. I loved it that much. Sabotage Studios did it again. I'm giving it a 95. Check it out. It's good.
Wow. I'm not surprised, but that's a high
I originally was giving it 90, but then I'm like thinking, what is my complaints? And like I said, the only thing about story, like that's it, because combat is I think the best turn-based RPG. Like I said, of being able to switch my party members mid-battle made me so happy. I hate having to bench party members, and I want to play them, but I want to play everyone. So yes. Keith, go ahead.
Stars. I think it's awesome. I don't do a ton of turn-based RPGs. Partly just as I've stated in many episodes of this podcast, I don't typically have a lot of patience, and I like to just run and gun, and it's just it's good for my style. But I had so much fun with this, and I think that it's exactly what Andrew had pointed out, and I agreed with earlier, is that the battles are actually engaging without needing to be like a tactical RPG, where tactical RPGs are very engaging because you're moving around, you're doing all these things, but I don't do well with them because, well, I don't know. That's just a whole nother conversation. but yeah, Sea of Stars is just, it's a ton of fun. I loved really everything about it. I know I said that it felt a little bit slow, but it wasn't even in a bad way. It just, there was something in a feel of a moment where I don't know, thought I was going to be opened up to the game 10 hours into it. But all that to say is I didn't dislike my 10 hours leading up to it. I didn't feel like I had wasted all this time. So yeah, I think if you're not typically a huge turn-based fan and you want one to get in, get your foot in the door, pick up Sea of Stars, especially while it's on Game Pass. It's a ton of fun. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I would say a 92.
It's hard because right where I'm at, I feel like the game is going to open up even more.
It does.
So it's like I have to kind of keep that into consideration as well. And I did enjoy it. I think I'm going to give it a 91. It's so hard. Like I said, I feel like I'm just at the line where it's going to get even better. And yeah, when I think about things that I don't really like about it, I mean, there's not a lot. So
sorry to pause you. I forgot to mention of Time to Beat. I usually do that during the achievements, but real quick, yeah, you're looking between 28 to 35 hours. So it's a relatively decent sized RPG, but it's not crazy long. But yes, Liz, from what you're saying, it does open up.
Yeah. So I mean, I definitely didn't like it as much as you guys, especially Andrew. But yeah, I think it's a good game. And looking at Metacritic, Series X 89 and 8. But it's weird. I felt like a lot of the things that people were complaining about were things that other people praised it for. So, for instance, pacing. Some people felt like the ending was rushed. Some people thought the story was perfect. Some people didn't like the music. Some people loved the music. So I definitely didn't see anything, really indicating something wrong with the game kind of thing, because
it's more just people taste.
Yes, yeah,
that's fair. Does the game kind of become a little bit open worldish, or at least you can free travel?
Yes.
Okay, and see, I think that's where the point I'm at, and I think that's kind of what it is. It's all of a sudden I know that the game's about to just become so much bigger that it feels like everything I did was almost just an introduction to all of a sudden meet this open world or the next big thing. And that's where I go back to just defending my statement. I don't see it as a bad thing. It's just I think that's what it was in particular, that I know I'm just like on the cusp of this big moment in the game, and I want to break through it. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, you get a ship
wanna
and
end
you can
this
start to
podcast
sail
I
the
can go play more.
seas.
Okay, bye.
All right, everyone. That's gonna do us for here. If you, like I said, if you want to join us on our Discord, I'm a dumb butt, and I just realized that I did not create a permanent Discord invite. I did fix that now. So if you go to GamePassGrabBag.com, you'll find all our links, including our link to our Discord. We record every Tuesday around 8:30 p.m. EST. So if you want to come listen to us live record and interact with us, feel free to. If you have any game suggestions, please email us, gamepassgrabback@gmail.com, or hit us up on anything, or Discord or whatever. We always love game suggestions. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Ange. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird0952. Play Sea of Stars.
I've been Keith, and boy, do I have a task this week. I've got to raid Xbox Game Pass. That's
You gotta read Xbox Game Pass.
No pressure.
9.7. I don't know. They're not actually going to even listen to this, so I hope they do. That would be kind of cool, though. So if you do listen to it, you're a 10.
I'm Liz the Noob Gamertag, coming on Dean. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Liz the Noob, NoobBusyW. It's because I know that you're
on camera now.
I'm excited to. I know. I realize I probably shouldn't have worn pajamas, but
Why? I'm wearing pajamas.
I was just thinking that. I was like, this is really professional. Oh, okay, good. Because it's like almost 10 o'clock. It's like getting to my
Next time,
bedtime.
I'm gonna come with like a suit and tie.
I'm in,
just so you
I'm
look
in
more
my own
sheltered.
home. That's it. I'm gonna stream in a dog suit. Classic.
I know. I'm not. I took my bra off for this, so
That's true. No, I'll just have
I'm
Madison
really
in his
excited
dog
to listen
suit.
to last week's episode because I haven't heard it's Donnie, right?
Yeah.
I haven't heard Donnie's voice, and so it's weird hearing somebody talked about and then not knowing what their voice sounds like. So I'm excited to listen to that.
yeah. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll actually start also recording these, video record these and put them on YouTube.
I think we're gonna need a better camera.
Yeah.
We're looking very yellow.
In a better room.
A better face.
I love
Andrew.
Keith's background.
Keith, you need better internet. As he froze.
I know, I saw that
as he
too.
froze his
I don't see any issue with mine. You guys aren't frozen. I'm moving just fine. I think we're going to need a weigh-in from Javier on this because he's watching both of us. So you can tell us whose fault this
That
is.
was really funny. I was like, "Wait, is he frozen?"
All right, everyone. We're gonna end it here. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.